Welcome, everyone, to the Co-Creators Convergence Thursday night Creator Convo. I'm Noel Marshall, and I'm here with my beloved.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob Warner. So glad that you're joining us in timeless time. Maybe you're watching this on a recording 5 years from now on our website, but it's really the same time because we're all together all the time. We are one. Aliza, we're so delighted that you're going to spend the evening with us. Really looking forward to the conversation and looking forward to having everyone share that with you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Aliza. And what I want to do is there's some people that haven't been with us before that are going to pick this up. And I want to tell you a little bit about the Co-Creators Convergence before we get to Aliza. And so just please stand by. So that is a little bit about us. And thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. And any comments or questions you have, we want to have a conversation tonight because we have Aliza Bloom Robinson with us, Reverend. And we met her on our Birth 2012 tour. So that was 12 years ago. And we were just talking before in the green room about how many times we have zigzagged across the country and met each other, whether it was for breakfast, for a service, or, you know, whatever. So it's wonderful to have you here, Aliza.
And thank you.
And I also want, before we start, I want to say to everyone, this is going to be my necklace for the night. Happy spring equinox, everyone. So these are some daffodils from our yard, and I wore a special shirt for this occasion to honor, you know, we've had our roots in the dark, but that allows us a time to grow, regenerate, and come out blossoming. So I think that goes really well with your topic tonight, Aliza, about new humanity now. Don't you think we can blossom that at this time?
I think it is so much about the blossoming, yes, and the blooming. Of course, my name's got that word in it, right?
Now, was that your stage name or is that your real name? Of
Do you
course.
know what? There's a story, and it's a long story, but the very short version of it is I married J.D. Bloom at the same time that I got ordained, and we only stayed married for about 5 years, but it was well worth the name.
I've heard similar stories. You know, I have a sister that married someone named Brizendine, and she just, you know, she says, I'm sticking with Marshall. So we have that prerogative as, you know, women of the now generation.
Yes, we do.
Yes. So, you know, what I'm going to do something a little different is what I'd like to do is to show your website and let you introduce yourself. Why make me do all the work, right?
Right.
And I want to say that I know some of you are out there in Facebook land watching this and catching this. I hope you get the courage, summon the courage to come into the Zoom room, you are most welcome here. And I would like you to know that it's being recorded, and you can pick it up later on our website, co-creatorsconvergence.com. So please stand by and let's introduce Aliza in her own words. So hold on, here we go.
Hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Aliza Bloom Robinson. I am a transformational catalyst. I am a catalyst for personal awakening, for global awakening. I'm also an author. I'm also a speaker. You can see my books here on my side. I'm so glad that you found this page today. So what is awakening? Awakening on a very personal level is multifaceted, really, but it is about peeling off the layers of the places that we stay stuck. It's dismantling and dissolving the lifelong limiting patterns. So maybe you're somebody who gets stuck at that same spot again and again and again. This is the work for you. This is the place for you. As we dissolve those patterns, we can also activate and access that deeper part of our being, our essence, our soul that is yearning to come forth. On a global level, we are in a place on this planet right now that we are awakening to a new experience of being on the planet. We are awakening to a deeper experience of love and kindness and connection and compassion and innovation and creativity and beauty. And as we are awakening to that, we're also looking at the world of chaos, but we're rising above, not to separate out from, but to bring a new consciousness into the possibilities of what this world could look like. So in this website, in this work, in my work, we are about awakening consciousness. We are about powering up possibilities, and we are about the embodiment of your own brilliance. So I invite you to take a look around, to explore the different offerings. And I also invite you, if you're interested, to click the link below and hop on a call. It's a complimentary consultation, get to know you chat, and I can share more, and I can also help you discover the potential within you so that you too can begin to embody your brilliance.
So I think that was a great introduction. I couldn't have done better myself, Aliza.
And like I said to you, Noel, I haven't watched that for a while, so wasn't that good?
I know you have some new news since that was made, because you have the new Humanity Now. I know you have an offering, a little flip book for us, Humanity Now flip book. And I'm going to put that link in the chat. And that's a gift to everyone.
Yes.
And I'll also put it, when I edit this, I will also put it so people know how to reach you and get that as well. So
Wonderful.
without any further ado, I think I'm going to I think I want to tell everybody a little bit more about you. How's that?
Okay, let's see what you got.
All right. So Aliza is a quantum analyst, alchemist, author, and speaker on all things new. She has been an ordained Unity minister since 2000, is a leadership consultant, and a transitional specialist. Her work in the new Humanity Now is gathering attention, and people are ready to be the new and are up to great and grand things in the universe. Now, you know, we met through Barbara Marx Hubbard, and she was our neighbor at the end of her life. She lived across the street from us. And every morning, Barbara would come out and announce to everyone, I'm new. And every day she would get a download, and no small talk with Barbara. It was straight to the new, and she had it. So I know that you are a follower and loved her and was part of her Birth 2012 awakening. So without any further ado, I'm just so glad that Barbara brought us together.
Yes.
And we've been together ever since.
Yes, we have.
So over to you you might want to center us, or, this is a very flexible platform. So I'm here to serve. Bob is sharing this information on Facebook and elsewhere. So you just let us know how we can assist. So
Thank you
everyone
so much. And it was so great to see you the very last time at the Parliament of World Religions this summer, and so great to be back on this platform. I went back and looked up through your archives and my calendar. It's like, I know I did one of these. I'm like, I just did it. It was 2016. So it was just a minute ago.
I think you've probably evolved since then, knowing you, Aliza, because you work with businesses, churches, groups, women. You're multi-talented, and I'm anxious to hear about New Humanity Now. So
yeah, so New Humanity Now, I think really for me was birthed in the 2020 or 2012, birth 2012 work. And we were doing that, what, a year and a half, 2 years, or a few years before 2012 hit, because we thought for sure on January 1st, the world would change. And I don't know about you, but some of my buddies were a little disappointed when it felt like it was just the same thing. We were hoping for a mass awakening, right? So for me, I had a personal awakening, and I will center us here in just a minute, but I wanted to share this piece. I had a personal awakening. I've had many, many personal awakenings, one of which led me on my spiritual path way back in the early 90s, and one of them that really led me into ministry, and another one that led me out of ministry, which was a really interesting one. But what came out of one of those is there was a fire ignited inside of me about the awakening. And I had this spiritual journey. I look back and it was an initiation, really. It was about a year and a half or 2 years of deep, deep, deep inner work that actually started in 2010. So it took me off. So I was meeting you about the time I was being called out of ministry, so to speak. But what that ended up being for me is that my heart burst open, and my mind, my subconscious mind, the circuits in my brain just blew. They just blew, and everything became new. And through the course of that awakening and really processing, what I discovered is that I'd already been a minister for 10 years at that time. I had already been talking about moving from our head to our heart and getting into the experience. I had all the language right, but I didn't know I didn't have the experience. I didn't know that I didn't know. And so through that awakening, it came alive in me in such a way that I couldn't use the same words. I couldn't use, I had to leave the pulpit because I couldn't say the same thing I was saying, because my experience, what I discovered is that I'd been teaching this, and now I was having this, right? And so there was a disconnect, but all of that was leading me ultimately to where we are now. And so that awakening was moving from separation to oneness, which is ultimately what Birth 2012 was sort of really about, to moving from the egoic self to the place of oneness. And that doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen, and it is happening, and it is happening right here and right now. So I want to start, now that I've started, I want to start with a lineup and really set the stage for what we're going to play with and explore tonight, or this evening, or whenever it is that you're watching this recording. So if you would join me in just taking a minute to our eyes if you're comfortable in so doing. And line up with me. Now, when I say line up with me, you don't have to even know what that means, but feel your body, mind, heart, soul, spirit, system lining up with the intention for this time together. And as we line up with the intention to discover, to see that which is already new. So as we line up together, feel the collective lifting you. It's as if the collective is pulling your awareness up. But even as we're joining in the collective, it's the energy that's thrusting up. And as you are thrusting up, imagine that you are lifted above the current reality of your world or of our world. And that you can see, you can feel, and you can be something brand new. So let's activate for this moment a new experience of love and grace. We all know those words, but activate a new experience of them. Maybe it feels like lifting. Maybe it feels like expanding. And as that's activating in you, feel yourself lifted even higher and look with new eyes. It's almost like opening a brand new vision, a brand new possibility. And in this new vision, in this new dimension, just look and see what you see and hear what you hear and sense what you sense. You might notice something in your body physically or in your emotions or in your mental faculties or maybe in your spiritual body. And the more you notice it, the more it activates. The more it's activated, the more you can integrate it by noticing what you notice. Becoming aware of the alignment, the coherence, the resonance of this lineup. Notice what you notice. And when you're ready, take a deep breath in without losing any of the experience. Come back. And when you're ready, open your eyes. I would love to know what you noticed in that or how that was for you. Maybe Noel, you kick us off.
Well, for me, there was a lot of heat. And well, let me just be honest. Yesterday, I saw Jesus Christ Superstar in person, and it was phenomenal. And if you noticed, one of our guests later or next month, she is a follower of your Rancha book, and she has downloaded a book called the Evangelistic Core, Jesus's Evangelistic Core, and it's about the 12 women who centered around him and their stories, and it's fascinating. So everything about me right now is about trying, you said you want to peel off layers. I want to peel off my Catholic school layers and say, hey, wouldn't it be wonderful to have a relation, a deeper, a more profound relationship, let's say a new relationship with this, with Jesus, with this amazing spiritual being that came here to teach us love, came here to teach us everything that the Birth 2012 tour is about, everything about unity and compassion. And so I kind of spun out, if you will, but it and feel a little embarrassed about saying this, but that's where I went. So I'm just going to be authentic. How's that?
I love authenticity, and oh, I love that, because it is like that, right? It is like that, and like that, nobody else is going to have the same experience of you, but yet, and it is that, right, that lights your heart up and gets you excited, and you say, maybe I'm a little embarrassed by that. I'm like, oh, celebrate it. I mean, why not? I mean, right?
It was just like all these things coming together at once, and then you saying, see, see what's new. And I'm thinking like, that would be new for me, because quite frankly, he was always like I'm even going to say almost like a Mickey Mouse character, in the way I was taught, that he could run the fastest and he could do everything and he did miracles. It was, so unreal. So fairy tale, just like this giant fairy tale. So I won't take any more time, but that's kind of, I'm really looking forward to continuing to dig into this. So
I will look forward to that. We'll be out of the country for all of next month, but I would love to know, maybe you can share with me privately, or I'll have to come back and find the recording, but that sounds fascinating to me too. I love all the different plays on that.
Yeah.
But it causes me to want to share a real personal piece of my awakening that I don't share publicly very often. May I?
Oh, absolutely. I'm just going to give you the floor here. So let's have some fun.
I think we're going to be conversational tonight, Noel, which is perfect.
Right. And Bob and Patricia and others, you're and those in the Facebook page, you're welcome to jump in here too. But let's have it. I did my authentic share. You do yours.
All right. So in this year and a half, 2 years, I was doing this work with my teacher, who my teacher, who nobody knows, so I don't need to say his name because he was under the radar, but he was so profound, and the work was so profound, and it was what I was sharing, that heart opening. It was like the most blissful, expansive, excruciatingly painful moment. It was both, all of it. And it was, I had heard the question, are you willing to serve creation? And I said, well, duh, I'm a unity minister. Of course I am, a little cocky arrogance, maybe. And then I heard, then you'll be asked to surrender everything. And that journey was a journey of surrendering everything. It was nothing mental about it. It was physical. It was visceral. It was excruciating. It was exhilarating. It was everything in between. So it was all the roles, all the labels, my career. It was my work, my home, my relationships. It was everything. And then it was all the emotions of humanity. It was anger, it was rage, it was fear, it was shame, it was guilt, it was everything you can imagine. And it wasn't just like I would wake up one day and go, okay, today I'm going to release shame. It was like I'd have this most blissful, expansive moment, and then 20 minutes or 20 days, anywhere in that, later, I'd be like washed over with this emotion. I'm like, what in the world is this? And shame took me out. And then the other one that took me out was rage. I didn't know rage. And I had the rage for weeks on end. It was burning through me for all of humanity. And then it was this blissful thing again. And then I had to surrender every single one of my belief systems. My whole subconscious was like wiped clean. But anyway, that's not the point of the story. The point of this story, one of those most blissful, exquisite moments, meditatively, I was invited up this kind of ladderish stairwell kind of thing up to the upper room. And up at the top of this ladder, there was a closed door, and I was invited in, and Jesus welcomed me in. And in that room were all the ascended masters. There was the archangels. There was, this whole room, it was maybe 15 or 20. And most of them I recognized, but some of them I didn't. And I was invited in as this honored guest. And it just, makes me weep right now because it was so exquisite. And I don't remember all the messages in that moment. But then like a month or two later, again, I'd been on my knees in the desert. We were in Joshua Tree, California, just weeping. And I don't know if it was exquisitely painful or exquisitely beautiful at that moment. It was probably both. And I went in, I was invited up that same stairwell, arrived at that same room again, and the door was opened, and I was welcomed in not as an honored guest, but as a colleague. Those moments have stayed with me. And those moments changed me at such a depth. And what I realized for me personally, and all I can tell you is that you will have your own experience of awakening, and it's not going to be the same as mine. And I don't say it and tell it and share it to go, look at me, or compare any of that. I'm just saying that was the experience. Some of those are the experiences that I've had that put me on this path. And the messages that I got from that experience and then moving forward was really that Jesus came to welcome in this new humanity, this birth 2012. And the essence of that was that humanity, generally speaking, has been in this state of separation for millennia, eons. I don't even know, 5,000, 20,000, 30,000 years, however long we've been on the planet, probably. And that in the messages that Jesus gave us, it really was the doorway out of separation into oneness. And that is the essence, I believe, of what my work out of Barbara Marx Hubbard's work, her legacy is becoming my legacy, which is new humanity. And it might shift the language a little bit, but it is that collective where we are already seeing and already being that new, even as we see what's going on in the world. So the step, right, the gap, we're in that gap. It is, what did I hear the other day? It was so brilliant. It was talking about, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this, but moving from separation, which is our egoic, material, small r reality world, right? Moving from that into our state of oneness. For years, I used the term quantum, moving into our quantum essence, our quantum beingness, moving into, if you use the language of Jesus, the kingdom of heaven or the kingdom of God. That is that experience of oneness. So in the egoic world, we have, in our separation, we have hot, cold, good, bad, right, wrong. We have polarization, which is what we're seeing in the world so much right now. We have, we have that because that's how we begin to experience, right? Separation is not bad. It's a stage. If you go into like the work of Don Miguel Ruiz and the Toltecs, it's that we're living in the smoky mirror, the mirror of illusion. And it's very real. until it starts to break up. But I think what's happening, what we're seeing in the world right now, the crumbling, the conflict, the contradictions, the complaint, all of the stuff that we're seeing is actually some of those systems which are false, as in not overridingly true, are beginning to crumble. And the places that are being revealed are, essentially the shadow that needs to be healed or released or quit being paid attention to. I didn't say that very well, but you get what I mean. But then as we come to the other side of that, what we see, instead of war and lack and dis-ease, is we see a true experience of oneness, knowing that I am one with that which we call God or source or the universe or creation, knowing it, not with my head. Because when I was preaching, up until I had my spiritual awakening, I didn't know I was preaching from my head. I thought I was preaching from my heart, but I was still, this is what I was going to say. Sorry, I'm bouncing a little bit here. But what's happening in the world right now is the caterpillar is impersonating the butterfly. We, humanity, are still a caterpillar, and so many of us that are awakening are getting glimpses of it that we're starting to impersonate. And yet when we finally get there, it's so different. It feels different, it looks different, it smells different, it tastes different. And in that place that we're heading, in this place of oneness, it's foundationally and fundamentally about innovation, collaboration, beauty, creativity, joy, fun. It is organically something entirely different than we can even dream of as the caterpillar impersonating the butterfly. So when you start to get a little bit in some of the things that are coming up around that is, some of the things that we're bumping up against are spiritual arrogance and what I always like to call metaphysical malpractice and some of those things. But the real work, I love what Noel's cracking up, and I see Linda. Thank you, Linda, for joining us here. The real work is for years and years and years. It's been hard work to awaken, but I believe it's not anymore. I believe that the veils are so thin and the crumbling is so much that it's a moment in time, that it's a breath in time, that it's a pivot in time, that it is a choice, moment to moment to moment choice. So the question comes, right? So why is it so darn elusive, and why are we still in the same things we've been in, the last 20 years or 12 years at least, or 10 years? Why can't we get it, right? Because we're the caterpillar impersonating, and we have to let go of. We have to surrender our attachments to what we think it is. We have to surrender our attachments to the stories that we tell. We are so addicted to the stories we tell. So what I want to offer as an idea, and I want you to just take it as an idea, just try it on, practice it, taste it. If it works for you, run with it. And if it doesn't, then, go for the next tool, because Noel and Bob will have somebody next week. They'll offer a different tool. But if we were to completely simplify it all the way down, like super simple, because that's the other thing. I used to think that spirit was very, like, I would get these messages from spirit and it'd be like so full of information and ideas and words. And it's like, yeah, that's not it anymore. That's where I bump into a little bit of my own spiritual arrogance. I'm sorry to admit that I'm really working on that one right now. Again, I thought I handled that back in 2010, but here it is, right? So what if the question that you can ask yourself in any moment is simply this: am I in ego or am I in source? Is that thought ego or is that thought source? Now, I use the word source rather than God because to me, God has a connotation that takes you back to your Catholic days. And we want to just bypass some of that, not because it's wrong or bad or right or any of that, but simply because if I just go source, my whole being goes, go back to the teachings of Jesus. He says, greater things than these shall you do. When we are, Jesus said, the Father and I are one. I go to the Father. What if the Father is not only God, as we know God, but the very source of all things? And what I think has been happening on the planet, I think, but I know because I'm experiencing it, is that 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 12 years ago, 5 years ago, our creative power, our access to source was very different. I believe that as a humanity, we are evolving so quickly that there is no blueprint. It is Joe Dispenza talks about the void, right? You get beyond time and space, you get to no space and no time and no thing. And that's the quantum field. That's the place of limitless, unlimited potential and infinite possibilities. It's also the place beyond, separate from, not tied into our subconscious thinking. Our subconscious thinking keeps us hostage, if you will, to the past. Not only mine, for me, but our collective subconscious. That's where all this stuff seems a little bit concretized, like it's in concrete. But it's no longer true, because instantly you can shift that now. And some of the tools that I work with and some of the systems that I use have been downloaded to me, and they boom, 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 and it's gone. And maybe at some point, if Linda's here, she's been working with me for a while. And so maybe, Linda, there's something you'd like to share. I'm not going to put you on the spot now, but maybe as we go, maybe we share a little bit something about something that's been so present and then it's gone. And it's gone in a way that frees us from our past, frees us from our mind in order to be in our essence. So if ego is what we call a third dimensional reality, is all about polarization. It's the world we've always lived in, right? Right, wrong, good, bad, wars, human rights, moral rights, democracy, if you will. Bob and Noel and I ran into each other again. I already said this, but say it again, at the Parliament of World Religions this past August. And now the Parliament is doing, and I'm participating in, it's called a Year of Democracy. And it's over, I don't even know. I mean, the Parliament put out numbers from that week. There were like 95 different religions represented, or 95 different countries represented, and 400 different religious or faith traditions or something represented. And so feel the power of all these different belief systems coming together for democracy. Feel the power of all these different belief systems coming together. This is what I believe. And I also believe that together we have so much more power. Together we are birthing this new humanity that was seeded by our beloved Barbara Marx Hubbard so many years back. And she talks about really the beginning of her thought process about that way, way back. You know, she was in one of the president's offices telling the story. I don't remember all the details right now, but anyway, so the egoic is that polarization, and the new humanity, or that birthed humanity, that that oneness, that state of oneness is so brilliant, you can't even begin to imagine. Like the solutions are so prevalent, and they're coming from young people. They're coming from, like all kinds of places. Like it doesn't even, like my brain can't even compute some of the ideas and the innovations that are already happening. And there's a lot of ways to find it out, but you're not going to see it on mainstream media. And that's one of the things that is potentially collapsing in the contradictions, and some of the unseen is being revealed. So when we look at the world, you go, oh, why is this news so elusive, right? I said that a few minutes ago. And it's easy to go, exaggerate maybe a little bit. It's easy to go to resignation. It's easy to even go to despair. I mean, you can look at some of the things that were on the news just in the last couple of days. It's like, oh, are we going to survive ourselves? And the answer is absolutely, maybe. Of course we will. But will it look like we think it'll look like? Almost guaranteed not. But what if it's way better? And what if it's up to you? And you and you and you and you and me? Right? Because what I guarantee is that it's not going to be top down. It's not going to be some God sitting on the throne with his big, long white beard going, you know what? We've had enough suffering. Let's change the world. It's not going to be that. It's not going to be government. It's not going to be officials of any kind that are going to trickle down. We've tried trickle down. It doesn't work. It's not going to work on this either. But it's going to be enough of us rising up. And will it be a revelation? Maybe. Or will it be gentle? Maybe. Maybe we just rise up. And all of a sudden, more and more, the tipping point of us that sees the world as brilliantly beautiful and aligned, when that tipping point happens, what if the rest of it just crumbles? I mean, I have been accused, confession here, of wearing rose-colored glasses. And I will deny that and say, but my contacts are definitely rose-colored. I see brilliance in people. I see possibilities. It's how I am wired at this stage. I see what is already, as we're beginning to vision it, I see it already here. So yeah, I wear rose-colored glasses. But I think that's part of my role on the planet. Part of my role, why I'm here, is to ignite possibilities and align lives for our biggest, boldest, most brilliant becomingness. So I wanted to, let me see. Oh, I just wanted to say this. It's not about denying or escaping our humanity. Okay, so I want to be clear about that. It's not denying that there are challenges in the world. It's not that. But it is looking at it with new possibilities. It's about being in it in a new way. Being in it in a new way that is not problem-oriented, but rather solution-focused. Being it in a new way where we can see and embrace what is, including the pain, embrace what is in order to become what wants to be. So I wanted to do a process here, but I wanted to just open it up. If anybody has anything they want to ask or question, and then we're going to take a few minutes to do a living experience of some possibilities.
Well, I open it up and anyone can unmute themselves. Let me check security. And yes, you can unmute yourself. And I know that Bob, you wanted to jump in here. I always do, but I'm going to give everybody else a chance. So go ahead, Bob.
Thank you. That's been absolutely beautiful, Eliza. Absolutely beautiful. Couple of questions come to me. Um, so the first one would be you mentioned like 5 years ago, or 8 or 10 or 12 years ago, our access to compared to now, our access to what I wrote down was our access to source has changed, is changing, is evolving. And I don't know if this is a distinction or not. Is our awareness changing or is our access? To me, access has always, I mean, Neil Donald Walsh says is always talking. You are you listening? And so is it really that our awareness has evolved, and we being the collective we, or a portion of the collective we? Any
Yeah.
thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think actually both is true, because I think that as humanity, as we are evolving, our awareness has definitely changed.
Mhm.
But I feel like, and again, this could just be me. So if it resonates, use it. And if it doesn't, let it go. But I feel like where humanity is a place where we've never gone before. Like we are becoming source itself. And this is a little bit hard to speak into because some of the language is the same, but it feels different. It's like we have evolved, like, well, the birth 2012 was about the end of the Mayan calendar. It's like we've come to the end of the calendar. So beyond that, it's a blank slate.
Hmm.
So it's remembering, but it's also brand new. So it's an awareness of our access, but it's also, it feels like a new access point. It feels like the channels, the veils between where we are and where we want to be are thinner.
Hmm.
Whereas, you know, it used to be, I don't even know how many years ago, hundreds of years, it's like we had a few people who had access, they were the hermit or the hermits and the prophets right up on the mountains, and they had access. But now it's like, it's more accessible. And maybe that is still awareness. Maybe we're saying the same thing,
Hmm.
but to me, it feels like it's also new and different. Did
Hmm.
that just confuse you even more?
No, no, I appreciate what you're saying. Is so how do you walk through your day in interaction with family or the store clerk or the driver that seems to want to take up more than their share of the road, or as you're in your world of the new humanity, how give us a few tips about how you share the lanes and share the lines at the grocery store with others.
So I would tell you a couple things in ways that I forget to do that. Right. And so I had this experience. This was just last week, and I was thinking about it when I was having it. And the long story, very short, is I was getting my pedicure, and I went to a salon that I don't really like because it was convenient again, and it's close to me, and we're out in the middle of nowhere, and they had an opening. And I knew when I walked in, and I'm like, oh, I hope I don't get that guy because I don't like that guy. Well, guess what? I got that guy. So I'm setting myself up, and I'm noticing. So this is really how, this is the answer to the question, sort of. I'm noticing, because as soon as I notice, I can choose again. So one of the things that the spiritual arrogance that I keep talking about recently, and the egoic personality, is that we forget to see people as people, and we see them either as objects that are either obstacles to what we want, vehicles to what we want, or irrelevant. And when we do that, we sort of keep ourselves separate. So I'm like, oh geez, okay, I got this guy. Oh, and then he comes out and he starts working on me, and he's on a FaceTime video in Vietnamese with somebody for like not 5 minutes, not 10 minutes, not 20 minutes in. And I can feel myself. Let me see if I can tell you what I was feeling: judgment, irritation, frustration. I knew I shouldn't have come here. So, like all of the humanity, right? Like, oh, this guy is such a jerk. I can't even stand that he won't get off this phone call. Now, the truth is, I wouldn't have been talking to him anyway. I was trying to read my book. So can you feel the arrogance here? Like, why do I think I'm more important than this man? Because I'm paying him to do my toes. Okay, well, that's irrelevant. So I finally said to him, and I'm like trying to give myself coaching right through this whole thing. I'm very aware that I'm not where I want to be. And so I finally leaned in. I said, well, can I just say hi to your friend? I feel like I'm in your conversation. You go, okay, whatever. And he goes, it's not my friend, it's my daughter. She's in Vietnam. And I'm like, okay. And 5 minutes later or so, he finally gets off. And I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Well, now I better talk to him like a person, right? Instead of
Careful what you ask for.
oh my gosh. So he started sharing, and I felt my heart just burst wide open for this man and the situation his daughter was in. Of course, I couldn't understand a word they were saying, but and then he was telling me. I'm like, yeah, now this is how it is, because I'm appreciating him as a person. I'm appreciating him for the service he's giving me and the attention. I'm giving him my attention. And I'm just like feeling so good, right? Guess what? The phone rings. Now he's on a FaceTime video with his, I don't know, grandson in Vietnam. I'm like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. So anyway, that's one of my stories about how I don't do that. But the way, one simple way to remember to do it is to see if you're noticing that you're seeing somebody as an obstacle to what you want, a vehicle for what you want, or irrelevant to what you want, because then you're seeing them as an object, and you're likely justified in your thought process about them, your judgment, or hurry up, or I want to be first, or I want to get in front of the guy on the traffic, or whatever the situation is, because it's always comes down to they're wrong, I'm right, I'm more important, they're less important. And when you start to really notice that, I have to say it sucks.
Yeah.
Until it doesn't.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you notice it, you can stop and pivot on a dime and go, how can I connect with this person?
Mm-hmm.
Because new humanity is connection, not separation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. If some call this the learning planet, or we're here to learn, and it's like, for me in my lifetime, more than ever, and technology has accelerated it even more. What you effectively were saying was, we're living in a world of transaction, and so, what's in it for me, or why I'm more important, or whatnot. And so it's all about the transaction. And I mean, we're not citizens in this country, we're consumers. We're not humans, we're consumers. And so everything has gotten more and more of a lesson for us to learn and to apply what you're suggesting as a way to look at others as a human and not a transaction. And, even clearly in this country, political leaders and marketing and every place else is continuing to teach us to be transactional.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is such a good term, because there's less judgment on it. But if you're transactional, you're not connected.
Not connected.
Like if it's transaction or connection, if those were the two choices, kind of like I was saying, the ego or the source. And look who's popped in here.
Well, there he is. Okay.
How about that?
Well, yeah. He's still connecting to his audio, and Sheila, welcome. I want to know if Linda wants to join her voice in here. We've been kind of chatting away here. I want to make sure that everyone, Judah as well, welcome to join the conversation.
Yes, great. Hi, I'm Linda, and I'm usually stay muted because I'm get tongue-tied and I don't really know what to say. So I'm really enjoy listening in, and And I had some things to say, but I lost it as soon as I started talking. So I'll speak up more. I'll stay unmuted and speak up again.
Great, thank you.
Thanks,
I'm
Linda.
sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just
It's
want to
okay.
make sure you were welcome. So,
Good
and
practice.
thank you. And Judah, welcome. We haven't seen you in a bit. He's been to some of our CCC events over the years and was very active. Are you still active in the Mankind Project?
Yeah, still doing that. And you haven't seen me for a while because I've been focused on revising and getting published a new edition of my book, and then also dealing with cancer plus a day job. So this is the first Thursday night in ages I haven't been available. And I just thrilled to walk in and hear this wonderful conversation going on about stuff that matters to me. So
Welcome back, brother.
yes,
Awesome.
good to be here.
So shall we do a process, Noel?
Sure, I'm game. Oh, wait, so I do have one question before we start
Oh,
that.
sure.
Okay, so about your spiritual arrogance.
Yes.
Or my spiritual arrogance. So somebody, I'm driving, or they cut me off, or they're going 100 miles an hour in a 50 mile an hour, and then I try to make excuses for them. Say, oh, maybe their wife is pregnant. Oh, maybe there was something happened to the family, and so that I find a way to just like quote unquote forgive them. Now, would you consider that spiritual arrogance?
Well, I'm not gonna accuse anybody of being spiritual arrogance because I'm just working on my own.
Oh, I've got a baby. Don't worry about that. I'm just wondering in this
But
tool I think I'm using.
I think that's a really good step, because what you want to do is be conscious of seeing people as people, and so that's starting to humanize them, right? And
I'm trying to generate some compassion for them.
exactly, and every time you generate compassion, your judgment will lessen, because you can't have compassion and judgment at the same time. You're either in judgment or in compassion. So every time that we do something to open our hearts or become compassionate, or well, Rob's on the call now, and we were talking this morning. We mentioned it to you guys earlier too. We were having breakfast in this hotel this morning in this very southern town, and there was a group of people there, and they were loud, very, very loud, and we were really, really, really wanting them to be different than they were. Right?
That's a good
and
way
you feel
to
that
say
judgment,
it.
right? I'm going
course.
to talk about me. I'm not going to talk about my husband. I'm going to talk about me. I'm like, oh my gosh. And they're going to ruin my breakfast because they're so loud and right? All of that stuff. And it's like, oh, but what if we just pretend, because we are in a foreign country and we're trying to learn the language, and look at how much fun they're having. And so for me, I kind of use that, well, maybe they're pregnant, trying to get to the hospital. It's like, oh no, just look at how much fun they were having. They were having so much fun with each other, but they were getting louder and louder and louder and talking over each other. And it was very amazing. But I felt my heart soften with acceptance, right? There's still a little bit of a judgment in that, but really accepting and just going, wow, look at them. Isn't that interesting? And become curious instead of judgmental. So what I really look to do is release my judgment and release my justification. I find that that's been a really big thing in the last, I don't know, year or so. I've been using that term, justified. I'm justified. It's like, why am I justified? Like, if I notice I'm justified, it's a call to me to soften something, like to look at something, look for something different, become curious, activate an innocence or a wonder, an awe, delight, love, compassion, any of those things that soften me.
Awesome. Love that.
Yeah.
Very helpful advice.
We use all the tools that we've gained over our 20 and 30 and 40 and 50 years of spiritual practices, right? We use them all. We pull them all out.
Very helpful and timing because we're going to a Marshall family wedding celebration thing in 2 weekends, and they get
Oh, very
louder and
good.
louder and louder, and I'll pretend like I'm in a foreign land.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes.
I
And
was
we're
I was
excited.
visiting, that was my sister's next to you. I have 7 or 8.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I was visioning that. Yeah, that was my sister's, and we're about ready to get kicked out of the restaurant again.
Yes.
But we do have fun.
And you know, the funny thing is they left and then we got kicked out. Well, because they were closing for the, it was 9 o'clock this morning and they were closing the room.
Oh, that's hysterical.
Yeah.
Well, I know you want to do a process, so maybe you want to take us through that, but just loving this evening.
So, yes. So, I'm going to invite us. So, the process is going to be pretty much a guided meditation, and I'm going to basically use a concept of 2 different circles. I call it the golden circles. And I'm going to invite us into the first circle and notice what we notice, and then to step out of it, and then to step into the second circle. So, that's basically what we're going to do. It's already a little bit after the hour, so we'll probably take about maybe 10 minutes or so, and then we'll be able to talk about what happened and what the experience is. And then after that, we'll wrap up the entire evening and kind of tie it all together. Sound good?
Sounds excellent.
So let's take a moment and just feel into the energy of whatever it is you've heard we talk about this evening. We're talking about new humanity now. We're talking about the possibility that it's already here in the midst of what we see in our world. So take a deep breath in and bring your awareness from your mind, from your thinking process down into your heart space. And we're going to activate a sense of innocence, a childlike wonder. And maybe it's like shifting the channel of awareness, or maybe it's something that's really easy for you to do. However it is you do it, we're just activating an innocence for this experience. We're activating a curiosity for this experience, in this experience. And so imagine yourself now in a field. It's a field of your spiritual heart, the field of your soul essence, the field of your brilliance, the field of your oneness, where all is well, where you are one with all that is, where love and grace are prominent. And as you find yourself in the field, feel your mind opening and your heart opening, and become ever more curious. And as you walk away through the field, you come to a big wide opening, and in this opening, you discover that there's 2 circles, and they're each quite large. And in a moment, I'm going to invite you into the first circle. And when I invite you in, you just step into it, but not yet. We're going to explore that circle first, the first circle. Well, let's just step into the first circle. The first circle, as you step into it, is our egoic self. It is an experience of the world of separation, of limits and injustices. And as you step into it, discover if that feels familiar to you, and whether it's familiar or not, what it is the experience of it. Discover that you're in this bubble of something. And maybe it's defensive or feeling small or feeling justified or feeling right or feeling better than or worse than or less than. And just notice what it is. What does it look like? What does it seem like? What does it sound like? And as you just notice it, name it. Oh, this is my egoic bubble, if you will. This is my egoic experience. And as soon as you name it, you discover a staircase. And if you are so willing, begin to climb that staircase. It's already inside that bubble. But as you climb that staircase, become willing to move beyond your egoic experience to something different. And as you continue to rise up that staircase, notice that the bubble that was all the way around you is beginning to collapse. Go up another step, another second step, and feel that entire bubble collapsing to where it's just a ring on the ground below you. And as you get to a platform and look down on this bubble, this collapsed bubble of egoic self, feel everything else in the world that is collapsing, all gathered there. And then turn your vision towards the right and see and discover that that second circle that was on the ground before is now at the same level as this platform. And in a moment, I'll invite you into this second circle. And the second circle is new humanity. It's a circle of oneness, of wholeness. It's a circle of your greater truth. The greater truth of who you are and the greater truth of who you are here to be. And so when you're ready, step into this second circle. And as you step in, notice immediately how it feels. How do you feel? How is it different? And this circle is the circle of your sovereign self, your soul essence, your empowered self. It's a circle of you as source. And as you notice what you notice, you may be noticing expansion or spaciousness or aliveness or freedom. Look around and explore this circle. And now notice that there are many others in the circle of their sovereign self, their soul essence. And feel yourself connecting, lining up like we did at the beginning. In this fifth dimensional field of your essence, look beyond. And see what you can see. And then notice what happens when you line up with others with the same intention, the intention of oneness, of new humanity. And as you line up with others, feel yourself lifted again to another platform, to a higher place. And in this higher place, look around and see what you can see. in a new dimension of consciousness, the fifth dimensional consciousness and beyond. It is here that you can discover solutions not yet thought of, miraculous outcomes, unexpected blessings, things that have never even yet been considered. You have access in a way that you never had access to inside the bubble of separation. So in this new expanded place, allow an insight or an impulse, an idea to arise from a new place. Maybe it's a solution or an action, a baby step, a symbol. As you open to receive it, feel yourself continuing to open, and with each opening, a rising up. A new possibility, a new perspective, a new potential. And as you receive it, line up with it, align with it, come into resonance with it. You don't have to understand it, you don't have to figure it out. Just line up with it. Notice what you notice. And we take another moment or two to integrate, to embody, to embrace, to allow, to receive. And as we integrate into our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies. We integrate through all dimensions of time and space, all states of awareness and consciousness. And as we do so, we bring this entire experience right into this now moment. Bring your awareness back into this room, fully integrated. Take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, when you're ready, open your eyes. Another deep breath. And so it is. And so we let it be. I would love to know, how is that? How was that for you?
I'm just asking everyone if they'd like to unmute and start their video, and that was really beautiful. I was climbing Jacob's ladder and beyond. So, but yeah, if anyone would like to unmute, you can go ahead and share whatever's came up for you. I'm sure Aliza will love to have some interaction. Connection.
Connection, yes, please.
Well, I'll go first because partly what happened is near the end, I did get into the last part, but then I got a phone call and I have to call them back right pretty soon. So I'll just put in my 2 cents first. I can't see everybody. Like before I saw everybody. Let me see where
You should put it in gallery.
You can stop the spotlight maybe.
Up here. See, I'm on a different, oh, here. There we go. Just had to find the right button. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
So I really enjoyed that. I always see that's a message. Let me come back to, I love the circles. I love the moving upward, and let me just see. The main thing, the thing was from going from that place. I really like that word justified. I've been using, when I talk to myself in the car and somebody cuts me off, I use that more like being a victim or being, how dare you, kind of that attitude. And I like the justification. I think I'll use that more because it really takes it out of the me being disempowered and just recognizing that it's a judgment. And when I moved into this second circle, that's where I got into the experience of the oneness, and aware of many, many more people there than I'm even have awareness of in my physical life. You know, there's just many, many beings there. And there was a community, a oneness, a sense of peace, and also like well, maybe that was the next one. When we moved in, there was more of this, I want to call it vibrancy, you know, and this was like sparkles, and the energy was much more uplifting, and there was the fun, the playfulness, there was that it was a sense of creativity of beings experimenting, seeing new things, experimenting with what was new, and what's the last part was? Oh, I was just gonna, in terms of my personally being part of that, it felt much more empowering and joyful and connected.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I'll stay just a couple minutes because I want to hear others, but I know I have to go soon. So
and we're going to wrap up in about 5 minutes anyway, so we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Linda.
Yeah.
Judah, did you have something you wanted to share? We'd love to hear from you.
I just noticed how I would like go from visuals to having active thinking and then go back to visuals. And I appreciated the image of being inside the steps, the bubble, the steps inside the bubble. Now, that particular visualization was new to me. I like that as a way to, you know, I mean, I've been working at bringing ascension down to earth in my practical life, so that's useful.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
I'm going to say that first, my mind is trying to figure out, where are these two circles? Are they like here, or are there other people in the circles? Or are they on top of each other? And, you know, so now I'm like, oh, forget that. So when the ladder came in, that helped me.
Oh, good.
And then I thought of myself as, we used to have a spiritual teacher, and she would just always talk about our emotional baggage. And so I had very heavy luggage trying to go up those stairs. And I just got lighter and lighter. And then the second circle, I'm gonna make this quick because Bob has something and he has a lot to say. And then it was just like colors. Everything was just beautiful, luminescent, beautiful colors everywhere. And then when we got to the third at the top, then I felt like I got my wings back. You know, I was like, I know I've always had them, but I've never been able to use them. I really can use them now. So thank you. I really enjoyed it.
Beautiful. By the way, the wings, the sky behind me is a picture I took in Sedona a couple of weeks ago.
Beautiful.
We had so many cool, oh my gosh, the messages in the skies were amazing.
I wondered, you know, when you put that up, I went, wow, we never got to talk about that, but yeah, thanks. Okay, Bob.
Okay, Bob.
Well, since you're talking about the sky, I went all kinds of places. And the first circle was, for some reason, it just started. I've been a pilot since I was in high school, but I haven't flown actively for 10 years now. And I just went on a flight. And so the first circle, ego, transactional, conflict, I felt contracted, is being underneath the clouds and looking at a map and seeing that there are political jurisdictions and geo-jurisdictions and things like that. And there's not oneness. There's all these different things. And then between the first and second circle, for me, was going through the clouds and popping out on top of the clouds. And sometimes when you come out of the clouds, maybe some of you experienced it in an airliner, but when you're in the front seat, you really see it, is that if there's enough moisture in the clouds, I'll get technical for a moment, there's actually a rainbow, which is a circle, and it completely circles the airplane when you come out of the top of the clouds. And so I popped out of the top of the clouds. Everything was beautiful. Everything was blue. There were no jurisdictions. There was no separation anymore. And there was vivid color. And so in that circle, I'm guided by your meditation words, I'm sure. I saw how many other people were in that circle. And it took my mind comes back and forth like you, Judah. Maybe I was fading in and out of two dimensions, two different frameworks. Was when we had our co-creators convergence in Costa Rica in October at the University for Peace. We did a world flag ceremony. And so we laid down the cards of laminated cards of every country in the world and territory, and declared, may peace prevail in that particular country. And it was colorful. I very much in this guided meditation felt like everyone in that circle was one. They were one in declaration of peace for the planet. And again, maybe something that you said took me to recognizing that beyond that moment or that day that we were doing that at the university, how everyone that was there that is one go out into the world and carry their oneness and accomplish other things. And we know for a fact that many other things have happened since October that have engaged the individuals that were there in carrying their oneness to share with others. And so the capping point was a big sense of gratitude for me, a big sense of, in the circle of oneness, it is just a fountain of gratitude for being able to go through this experience in spirit and in human life. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Nice. Beautiful. Well, I wanted to really just wrap up by speaking into, I've said the term New Humanity and New Humanity Collective several times this evening. And that is really my legacy, as Birth 2012 was Barbara Marx Hubbard's legacy. And I really am in the process of birthing a collective, if you will, and a collective will have several aspects to it. And and part of that, it's being developed, and we're about to go out of the country for a while. So it'll be probably early summer before it actually gets launched as a collective. But we have a free gift, and it's just been put into the chat. And if you're watching later, it'll be in the description. And it's a flip book for New Humanity Now. It's an introduction and overview. And it's got a little bit of compare contrast that has been well received. So I would love to gift that to you. And if this is something that calls you to be a part of, really looking for the collaborative partners to kick it off. One of the themes is igniting hearts, aligning lives, pathways to becoming possibilities, becoming healing, becoming wholeness, becoming oneness, becoming sort of as the catchphrase. And I know there are lots of people who are ready for this. And I also want to just speak into that it is both for those of us who are awakening and already know this as experience, and people who are coming up. So it's a collective, and ideally and in vision, it's, becomes this sort of melting pot collective for doing the big work, holding the world as it is already turning out, and everything in between. So very excited about that. Would love to have you join. We will explore and play and co-create and look at real world things as well as, otherworldly topics and possibilities. So
Awesome. Thank you so much, Aliza, coming back. 2016, I guess we had you here 8 years ago, but
8 years.
we've evolved since then. And
We have all evolved since
we
then.
have.
Yes, we have.
Yay.
Yes, we have.
And thank you for the gift of your presence, the beautiful meditations, the centering, sharing information, from your authentic self, things that you haven't shared with others. And that was really a gift to me, especially after my experience. So I'm very grateful for that. And I want to come back to our theme of happy spring equinox, everyone. And also, I'm going to tell you that, I noticed that one of your things that, you're about collaboration and joy. And let me see, what are your catchwords here? I love it. Innovation, collaboration, creativity, beauty, and joy. And our co-creators convergence will be in the Appalachian Mountains in North Carolina, Highlands, North Carolina, October 6th through the 11th. And the theme is co-creating joy. So come with us. So anyway, thank you everyone for coming. I really appreciate your coming here tonight. And just want to tell you that next week we have Kelvin Henry Chin, and he is an expert on what happens after you die. He's an after death expert, and he can remember back 6,000 years. He has amazing books of all the things that he has remembered, and one of them was a connection with Jesus.
Oh.
And so Jesus is another theme tonight. So
yeah, fascinating.
coming up.
Love it.
So I don't see it happening. In fact, someone wants us to go to Kenya next year after North Carolina and then Africa. So
Seattle is certainly within my budget.
We'll see what
just
we'll see
ride
what
along,
holds.
a lot of people are driving from a lot of places, Judah. Just stick out your thumb and meet us in the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Aliza. Thank you
you.
so much. Love to you and to Rob and to your whole ever-growing family. And thank you for sharing the night with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
And have a really great trip in Europe, even though we can't be with you. Next time.
Next time.
Love you all. May peace prevail.
May peace prevail on earth.